Good morning.
Morning.
There's a continental now and the hot food's coming out. Okay? So what we're
Right.
sitting.
Get your picture.
First up. Stamina. Here this morning. That's nice.
I saw it.
Right, for people to say they can't hold themselves.
Yeah, it's that true.
Yeah. Is there anybody sitting over there?
No,
I'll sit over there.
my son's terribly strength lasted and and I last and I'm the same
Yeah, and he died during COVID.
Yes, he did.
And
Oh
that's
no, just immediately after COVID.
Because that's when they leave them up for a month.
Yeah,
That made some
it did. It did. I agree with you.
Because you're not always there at that on the door.
No.
And live streaming, if you can do it a bit later on, it's quite good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is. I mean, I don't know. But this, the photographer for this was right at the back. And he's, I don't know. I hope he changes around because I've seen them where, in fact, for Frank, because there was people new.
Morning, everybody. What are we off to today, Mr. Peabody? We're off to Wilpena. So we're going to start heading into the bush. Everyone had a good night?
Yes.
Yeah. Joy had a good night. We'll give that place 2 thumbs up, I think.
Morning, they're probably sleeping in.
The workers aren't around.
No, exactly. Are they? Are they? But they're getting triple time for that one.
Gee, there was a lot there yesterday.
Yeah. I wonder how the locals feel about the height of the new bridge because their backyards are on.
And here we go, we're starting to come into the hills. I'll let you just take it in.
Here. Did you go to the village? Did you go to Kangaroo Island?
No, I came years ago, Melbourne, so
Yeah. I agree. We used to feel some innocent birds that used to be shades of purple on the hill.
month and built it out here. Spend a lot of money. So just up here on your left is the Pitchy Ritchie rail. A couple of good pubs.
That's all you need.
You'll be right, Joy.
Yes.
There's the Quandong Cafe down there. Lunch tomorrow. So there's the railway station, and that's where you'll be catching the Pitchy Ritchie train. It'll look great. It looks fantastic. The picture quality is amazing, and it really goes through the whole history of the area and also the different vegetations and fruits, and yeah, really interesting show. Well, we're coming back tomorrow.
Let's go.
We're going there. But yeah, I could not believe it. And there's this really friendly guy running it, you know, and he just... Yeah, right, yeah. There's somebody just pointing out the police station for me.
Oh, that's here, and he had it, didn't he? I know. Yeah, that was very, very sad. Very sad. So you doing that for the Canberra Hospital? And they still need them? Adult fire. Okay, I need a movie theatre around me or, you know, something. Are you calling me rude names, Sharon, now? I am. Oh, gee, I don't know what the world's coming to there.
I'll be a whole lot of sculptures that I've seen already. And it was
Like those ants, bees, flies.
when we go to
Oh, yes.
as soon as you come out,
Absolutely, over the coffee or the wine.
and they recommend it, and then they go,
I know.
what you need. And I
Makes it worthwhile.
It's midnight walk. You need to sort of be able
Have the full experience.
and then discuss it midnight, and just go overnight wash. But if I just writing, I might not be doing that yet.
They certainly didn't have it out the last time I was here. It was privately owned. I'm thinking on a motel that we stayed at on the first night.
That was
Okay, so we aim to be back here at 22. We aim to be back here about 11. Okay.
How much it would cost to rent, like, hire something like this?
Yeah, I don't think they're cheap, but if there's a guy, one of our drivers, he was thinking of buying something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So he was going to rent one to try it first.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's a pretty big investment. Yeah. Good? Yep. Yeah, well they're a good size. About the same as that. That's a Sprinter there, I think, yeah. Yeah.
Getting your walking stick.
Hello, my darling.
Not going wrong, it wouldn't be right.
Go in the naughty corner. We're a team, we go together. How are you going, Joy?
No,
They
and
need
then
some sort
that's
of a
right.
pest, don't they? You
It's
know,
just
like
like
they did with the cactoblastis
Yes.
and what.
Paintings. These paintings of the mountain. There's a hill there and the red oak appeared. And those paintings over there. Is that everyone? No?
I think Shirley's just gone back to get her hat.
All good. Make the decision to let you eat it.
Didn't look as
It's
if
a bit of
first.
that is a lawsuit. Today, we call rock carvings Uramolka. Ura is people, Molka is something you make. Paintings, rock carvings, wadnas, boomerangs, anything we make, Uramolka. That's what we call it. What this is, it's hard to picture. What what we're walking through today, it's hard to picture because you can't see the remains, but this is an old campsite. So down this hill in front of us, there's a creek, and there would have been multiple campsites everywhere around here. Big campsite here. So this is why we can find these rock carvings. All right? These are some of the symbols we might see, so it's good to remember them. This also can show you why it's incredibly hard to learn my language by reading it. The easiest way that I've found by learning my language is just listening and try to put things into context, a puzzle. Hear things enough times, and you try to put things into a puzzle. So, I already said this word before, but this is what a chi. That doesn't look like a chi.
No.
The T-Y-I. Euro is one of the kangaroos. We call it munja. But when you look at that, it's mund. Yeah, munja. Like Italian, munja.
Yeah, Mangiano.
Maybe the Italians call that. You know, eat that, munja. Kangaroos. Mukamai, that's just ceremonies. Awi, water. So why that's the water symbol is when you drop a rock, it creates ripples. So all our art is done by the perspective of the sky, the Nayari, looking down. Because our people used to believe that we could, like a astral project, send our spirits to the sky, heaven, whatever you want to call it, and look down. And that's why it's kind of weird, but a lot of our art's actually like Sacred Canyon's another rock carving place, and there's this big art of the Wilpena Creek, and it's really accurate. It's kind of scary how accurate they made it, but you know, we're here. This is how we're looking, but yet they were able to do art from perspective looking down. How they did it? This is all sandstone, so all they needed was just a really strong limestone rock. But the ones at Sacred Canyon, that's all limestone rocks there, and we don't have a rock hard enough to do that, to make those rock carvings. So what happened was we traded for a cartane stone. We gave our red ochre out, and we got a cartane stone from some mob, Central Queensland. We don't know the mob, but that's where it's guessed to be around. And it was just passed like a baton all the way down to the Flinders, and our red ochre went out to them. So that's how we did our stuff. Wandoo, good? So we'll just head down this track here and get started. Any questions?
No.
No. Perfect. So,
Hearing aid doesn't work.
If he's speaking, isn't it? It's when I hear it.
back down.
Two dots. The other dots. Yeah, when you take a picture. Because I could sort of see straight there. And to do it through your camera, I could then see the word. You think that was in it? Have you got a natural repellent?
For flies?
Yeah.
Eucalyptus leaves. You burn it, and there's something in it, some oil or something, I don't know, gets released. And that's what we'd use to, we'd put a lot of eucalyptus leaves on our meat to get rid of all the flies.
Oh. We should be doing this to get the eucalyptus leaves.
Yeah. I have to grab a bunch after. So, this is shrubby rice flour. And we'd use this for weaving. The women would use it, the gatherers would use it for weaving. So you peel it, and then you'd mix it with human hair, and then roll it, and it'd make a really strong kind of twine or something to make baskets, belts as well, carrying belts. Shrubby rice flour, that's our first one.
how big would that grow? Was that
That's pretty much the biggest size, yeah.
Right. Would they wet it like you do wicker? You know, when you weave wicker?
Well, I don't know. See, the thing about our culture is like, the men we don't really know that much. No, that's serious though. It's like, you know, the women were really, yeah, this is the, you know, this is women's business is what we call it.
Yeah.
So, we really know what they did with it. We have no clue how they, we just hunted kangaroos. They brought the kangaroo.
The women got the salad ready.
So, this should be enough. We'd gather the pods. But we didn't want all this. We only wanted the seeds. Waiapi. So we'd mix it. And stand. But you're meant to stand in the wind and let the wind blow it away. So I'm going to have to blow it without blowing all my seeds away. So I only got 5 seeds, so I'd probably starve to death out here. That's why the women do it, not me. But the idea is you're meant to be left with a big handful of the seeds. We're going to talk about this rock first, and that one. These are the two main ones. There's also heaps everywhere. So this one, you see a circle here. And then you see another circle down here. So I want you to look at this rock for a sec. Once you've had a good look at this mountain. Follow it down and look at the shape. You see the rock in the mountain?
Yes.
So my uncles told me up there used to be a ceremony place where the boys would run around the fire. And this circle within a circle represents ceremony. Down here we have another circle, because if you follow down there, that way, where remember there's a creek bed just down here at the bottom of this hill. Over there was an old camp next to the river. So this rock is just a 3-dimensional map telling us where things are. Want to do? Good. Come around this one. This is a really exciting rock. This one.
Very close, isn't it?
Yeah, this rock has too many stories. So, we've got a few different types of footprints here. Emu, warachi, birdloo, kangaroo. They don't have the... Well, a while ago when they tried to carbon date this stuff, the technology just wasn't up to date because they would take a sample of the rock. Remember, all these rocks are really old, so they'd get an age of 500 million years or whatever, how old the rock is. So right now they don't actually know the date of this stuff, but our people got a few tricks, and it doesn't give us an exact 31,000 years old, but it tells us which is older, and it gives us a minimum. So the first thing we have is the tracks. This one's all lines. Right? Now there's another emu track. I'm going to come at an angle. Here. You can see it when you come around here. This one's different because it actually has a heel pad, toe pad at the back, and the toes are a bit more fatter. So because of this change and this difference, that tells us that that one's older, the more primitive stuff, because it's just lines. This one has more detail now. Fatter toes, actual heel pads, how the track should be. Right? But that still doesn't give us a date, that just says which one's primitive, which one's newer. This footprint here, anyone have a guess what they think that could be? This one's a bit tricky. I love this one. There are echidnas here, but no. Yeah, the wombat. So our people have stories of, we call it Yomati. Yomati was this big creature that had massive tunnels, lived in massive tunnels. And our people thought it was a demon. Until a few years ago, there was an archaeology team did an excavation in the northern Flinders with one of the Adnyamatna elders, Cliff Coulthard, who's a rock cave painting rock specialist, something like that. And they found this emu shelter, and this shelter was where a lot of our people camped. So they did an excavation site, and they found bones of a young diprotodon, so the ancestor of the wombat. So they found bones of it inside this big cave. They also found tools as well. They found proof of like where people made a fire in this shelter. And in the bones of the diprotodon, they found edgings where tools would fit, where they chopped the bones of it. And they also found little knives and stuff like that made of its bones. So they proved that the Yomati in our stories existed. It was a real thing, and it was the diprotodon, the ancestor of the wombat. And this one's telling us the story of the Yomati, but it's not here. This happened to the east. So the story goes that a young Yomati went into a camp. He wanted water, and the camp was next to water. And the Yuras there tried to spear him, to kill him, to eat him. But he lived, he survived. And later on the years, he got bigger, but he never forgot. He remembered what happened. So next time he went back to that camp and he was bigger, he attacked everyone because he remembered. And this was a big difference in time, so the Yuras didn't understand what was going on at that time, and that's the story that's trying to tell us. Yomati going inside the camp, circle, attacking the Yuras. So you see, it's starting to make more sense, like our stories have some connection of something that's real. So, there's also some other things, but we don't actually have proof yet. So the other things I'm going to tell you, take it with a grain of salt, because there's no actual scientific proof yet. But we believe there's more megafauna on here. So there's a big goanna here. His tail's here. His body's here. Leg, head. Something like that. There's also another goanna here. One over there. These are completely different in sizes. Most of our goannas are similar size. So we believe that this one is the river monster, the river lizard, the megafauna of Megalania. That's what we believe. But as I said, there's no proof yet, so that's a grain of salt, that one. So, we'll move on to this one up here. You see these grooves?
Yeah.
In the rock? These are not natural. These were done on purpose. So this is a star constellation here. And a long time ago it used to be a lot more clear, is what my uncles told me, but the weathering and the lichen of the rocks made it a bit harder to see. But this one's the Seven Sisters, the star constellation, Pleiades. So the Seven Sisters, there's stories about them around the world. Our story, specifically Adnyamatna, because other Aboriginal groups have different stories about this one. But our story goes that these were the 7 wives, the Otini, beautiful wives, that's what that means. And they were all the 7 wives to an okra serpent, big serpent. He was very jealous, very old jealous man. And he wanted all the wives to himself. So one day, the Otini was swimming at a awiata, a waterhole somewhere. And along came some Yuras, some blokes, and they saw the Otini and noticed how beautiful they were and wanted them for themselves as well. But the okra saw what was going on, and he was jealous though, remember? So he swam underneath the Otini and swallowed them all, opened up his yaya mouth and swallowed them. And then later on he spat them to the Nayadi, the sky, to trap them there forever. So that's that one. Why is it important to have a story about this specific star constellation? There's one reason I'll give you, is because because this is on our flag as well. You might see it at Wilpena later. But the octony represents women's business, women's culture, I guess, within our culture. But there's also a few other reasons why it's a necessity to remember this one. Because there's so many star constellations you'll see tonight. Sagittarius, Scorpio, Pisces. Any ideas on why it could be important? It's alright, it's a bit of a trick.
Not to look at anybody else's wife.
It's like navigation. We do have some stars that are for navigation, and that's why we have stories about some stars to help us remember them, so the young kids will know them and use them for navigation. But this one helps us with the seasons. So Pleiades only comes out here in the southern hemisphere after November or whatever, so summertime. So this one would tell us when it's summer. And our people, we couldn't stay in one place too long because certain plants fruit in certain seasons. So we had to be semi-nomadic. So Ikara, Wilpena, we only stayed there in the summer and then we'd move around. So this is a place we'd come to in a certain season. So yeah, Pleiades would tell us when it's summer and we can move on once we see it. And there's also some other reasons, but that's the necessity to it, having it, this story. One do good? So those are the main stories of this one. As I said, there's plenty of carvings on these rocks if you want to have a little stroll around. Any questions so far? No.
It's immense, really. What did you call the giant wombat thingy?
Yomati.
Yomati. Is it the same Yomati that's in our National Museum, that great big wombat?
The Nar Caves, Mount Gambier, have them?
Yes.
Narkot. They have big ones there.
Sort of thing.
The same thing, yep.
Right.
That,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which animal do you class as the most sacred?
So the yellowfoot rock wallabies are actually, everyone know the yellowfoot rock wallabies?
No.
No. Well, we would have seen them if we went into Bratchner, which is annoying, but they're these small wallabies that have a yellow, kind of like a tiger tail. And you only get them in the Flinders. The Flinders Ranges have the most of them, and one place in New South Wales, I can't remember, it's somewhere central. Those are the only two places you get them in Australia, these yellowfoot rock wallabies specifically. And they were very sacred and spiritual for our people. Only really highly ranking men can hunt them. And even, I'll never know why, because I'll never get that knowledge past me. I have to be initiated to get that knowledge. So none of us even know why they're sacred, but...
So were they actually hunted for food or for
yeah,
an
for food.
emblem or something? You know, like...
Even that, I'll never even know. I've asked all my uncles,
Okay.
but they're all, most of them are not initiated, and none of us even know. At least around here. Sure, there's a lot of elders that do actually know.
Oh, gee, we've lost so much.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, but
What's that plant there?
Yeah.
you've got to try to revive it. Which one?
Is that a salt? Is that a salt?
That is saltbush.
Just saltbush. And that's
Either
it.
old man's or mallee saltbush.
Or mallee saltbush. And sheep will eat that, won't they?
I don't know if sheep do, but I know all the kangaroos and everything
Oh,
eat
do
them.
they?
Yeah,
Right.
maybe sheep would eat them. Goats.
Yeah,
Change.
I think no.
All the animals you're seeing were here, so that's why they're there. That's the restaurant menu. Pleiades tells you the stories. That 3D map tells you, you know, when you see signs of like boomerangs, it doesn't mean that they threw boomerangs here. It means telling you that the mulga trees that we use to make boomerangs are nearby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all just information at the end of the day. But this place is special because I haven't seen one like this, but this is actually recorded stories here, which I haven't. Sacred Canyon, which is another one, doesn't have stories. That's all information of what's nearby. This rock is special because this has got two really old stories here. Alright?
So what time of the day would you have to be, say, somewhere, like say here, for instance, to see the native animals, like the animals come out to, you know, feed and
Depends what animal, right? Kangaroos love the mornings and dusk. In the daytime like this, they go, I don't even know what they do in the day, but you never really see them. Morning, you see them a lot. Nighttime, that's why we don't drive at night. Emus, I'm not too sure their pattern, but kind of see them throughout the day, those ones.
There are two of them running across the road
as well.
Yeah, this is all lichen.
So it's just these grooves that you're talking about.
Yeah, these grooves.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Well, I took some lovely photos.
I don't know, some people
Customer service.
they're just self-centered, aren't they?
The customer service was just terrible. Yeah, he definitely couldn't.
I'm going to turn her back on.
So,
A highly regarded and respected violin teacher, a man who loves to roam the ranges.
so it's really people.
Here's Barb's. You're home, Barb. Rest in peace. Miss you, little sis. Love, Dick.
Picture in the house.
That looks good. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Story. This is our version of geology. We believe that something dangerous might happen. And that's what we tell people as well. So a long time ago, there was no mountains. It was all flat country. Ikara is the meeting place where we do our ceremonies, as we've said today. So one time there was a ceremony taking place here. And we've talked a bit about initiations. So as a recap, there's 2 levels of initiation. The first one allows you the status of being called a man, and you get certain knowledge passed to you at the first level of initiation. And then the second one, we've talked a bit about it, allows you to perform all the ceremonies. So there was 2 generals. One was the Walayura, bush turkey man. He was first level. He was just a man. Then there was Yalayura above him, the second level man. Yalayura is the kingfisher man. He's the big boss that performs all the ceremonies. So one day Yalayura, he went walkabouts to Lee Creek, a couple hundred k's past the Hyson range there, northwest. And Walayura saw him leave and realised that maybe he could steal his position because he was jealous of Yalayura. So Walayura tried to perform a big ceremony over there, and all the yuckities, the children that were going to be initiated, they weren't taking him seriously. They thought they were laughing at him, they were joking around, being cheeky, and he was getting fed up that no one was taking him seriously. So he grabbed his utter fire stick, Zephyria, and he hit the boys. Yalayura heard the screams from Lee Creek, turned around and saw the wudnu, the smoke, and realised what was going on. He realised there was a ceremony there. So what he did was he made a big fire, an adla, as a smoke signal to say that he was coming. And then he buried 2 dampers underneath the fire. And he started to make his way from north to south. This time there were 2 ocaras, remember, serpents? A male and a female. These were different ones though than the other story. They saw the adla, the fire, and they were attracted to it. They went to it, and they saw Yellow Ura heading to St. Mary's Peak, Ikara. So they followed him. They thought that they might be able to get an easy feed, an easy meal. So they followed him. And that mountain range there is the serpent slithering. North to south they slithered. They created all the lakes, inland oceans. And they slithered all the way here, circled around the gathering place. So what happened was Yellow Ura came back and snatched that fire stick off Walla Ura and threw it in the sky, in the Nayari, and created Wildu. We call Mars Wildu because we knew that Mars was something different than the normal stars. We knew that it had a different cycle rotation than the other stars, so we knew it was something different, so we named it Wildu. So what happened was this was at night time and the Urus couldn't see anything. It was too smoky from the fire. And the Operas surrounded them and started attacking all the Urus, eating them. And the Operas ate everyone until they were full. Yellow Ura and Walla Ura, one went north, one went east, and they turned into two mountains. So there's one that way that represents Yellow Ura. You have to get closer though to see the shape. The Operas were full, formed the shape of a pound, and they withered away, turned to stone forever. So St. Mary's Peak is the head of the female serpent. She's looking at the sky. South of the town, Arkaru Rock, next to Maudsley, is the head of the male monster. Looking down at the yutta, the land. He's looking down, she's looking up. Wondu? That's our geology. So one thing about that story, when all the mining companies came out to the Flinders to find coal, copper and gold, they went to Lee Creek and they found this massive coal deposit. And a lot of my ancestors, because all my family come from Lee Creek, they told them the wood use not to dig that. They said munda, which means like funny business, like that's a bit scary. Munda, don't do that, that's scary. And they told them that that's Yellow Ura's fire, that he made that, don't dig that up. They dug it up for the coal, and that's Lee Creek mining, the coal mine. You go today, it's closed. That coal mine there, they dug it up. They found these two massive boulders that were like thousands of years old. They carbon dated them, really old ones, identical. You can go to Lee Creek today and see those. And our people told him that's the two dampers that he made for his fire. There's the coal deposit left behind at Lee Creek Mine today. That's his fire. Wondu? So you've heard 3 proper stories today. And as I told you at the beginning, why it's called history, it's because there's a connection with everything. We may say it in a different way, in a story-like way, but we're talking about how all these mountains are formed. You know, Lee Creek's 200 kilometres away from here. That's really far, and the stories, you know, that far and that connected with everything.
Is there a book in the shop that has this story?
Yeah. There's a really good book in the IGA. I think there's about 4 copies I bought. So there's 5 copies left. I bought one because it's probably the best book I've found that has all the stories, and it's also got all the stories translated into my language. So I'm trying to learn how to say the stories in language to make it sound better. But I'm slowly getting there. Yeah, the IGA at the Wilpena. They got a book there.
What's it called?
Just Adnyamutna. So that book's cool because Vince Coulthard, Cliff Coulthard's brother, we talked about Cliff today, his brother Vince Coulthard spent about 30 years making this book, talking with all different elders everywhere, and try to bring all this information. The book's about this big, and it's only the first edition, the first part. There's a second part coming, and that book's cool because it talks about, has all our language in there, all our most of our stories. Also talks about the relationships, because our relationship system's a little bit different to kind of the West, I guess you can say. And also like bloodlines and other stuff, but that's a really good book. There's also another one called Flinders Ranger's Dreaming. There's this lady called, I can't remember her name, Dorothy something, but she she was a white fellow, and she went out here as well, talked to all these elders who got all the stories as well. That's a really good book. Has about 40 plus stories of ours. Fondue, good?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I think we'll head back to the bus now and see Casino Tree, but in terms of the culture experience, that part's done. So I appreciate everyone's respect and questions. It was, oh, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Someone sent it for
I haven't been out.
but they had police escorts all around.
So where's Lake Torrens going to be the
Lake Torrens. So we have Lake Frome, Lake Torrens, Lake Air.
Yeah.
Oh, Lake Torrens has stories,
the
but
certain?
yeah. So
I'm not thank you. What a fabulous place for lunch. Are you making signs behind the road? So nice. Yeah, but they might have brochures up there too.
Film with us.
Well, I think that Serena would have had it. Wouldn't be under lecture. It's on the bus. You wouldn't put it.
No.
It's great. Is there anybody else coming?
All right. It's 3:06. Excuse me, though.
Loop. Loop, 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 loop.
You come along like this and then there's this big rock formation that you climb around. Have you done that?
Yes. Oh, God, it would have been about 1970.
No, I don't know. It reminds me of still coming. She's towering soul.
Boom and bust or Mount Olson.
I think this boom and bust just goes around and back to the round over there.
Don't go too far, ladies.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because, not because I managed to do this. It's just somebody said, oh, did you put yourself on the wall?
Do you want my disappearing back, Barry?
I stop at 5K. On the flat.
Around the ring.
The comment.
Head in the post.
Oh.
Isn't it magical?
Oh. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I've got all the flights again.
Yeah, stop. That's
Or a leg coming down like a big foot.
Yes, look at all the dead
There's
branches.
a lot, isn't there? Put the Coolamans on there. Yeah, there's a one for you.
I don't mind seeing that.
that's where we're going, isn't it? At the top of that.
You might be.
I don't know about that.
You might be.
I haven't got time.
We cover around the outside.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Survival.
Decided to give it away. Well, you can see you're in it now because you can see the...
I think I'm going to. I'm not. I'm going back. I
Stand on the second rock. First
koala, but now it's a dog.
you look like a pug.
Yes? Or a Saint Bernard.
Oh, a Saint Bernard.
Yeah,
Where's the
yeah.
whiskey?
Oh.
My name's Isaiah. I'm one of the Adnyamatna traditional owner tour guides here at Ikura, or Pina. So, my language, Nawala. Don't be afraid to repeat certain words as well, because that's how we educate. That's how our language stayed alive for so long, recording me. So my language, we say Nanga Wandu Yananga Nuda Adnyamatna Yata, which means hello. It's good to have you here on Adnyamatna land. Ikura. That means meeting place. So this is the place where all the tribes would all come to meet, trade, perform ceremonies, stuff like that. This word here, Adnya, means rock. Matna or Mathna, depending what dialect you are, means group of people. So rock people. Wandu, good. This is our flag. These two star constellations. Does anyone know that one and not public? Don't say. He knows it. This one?
Yeah. What's your minor? Seven sisters, isn't it?
No.
He said no. He said no.
It's the saucepan, Orion's belt.
Oh, okay.
That one's Pallades, Seven Sisters.
Yes. The other one's
So Orion's belt, some of you on my tour today will know the story, so there's going to be questions. People listening. But that's the men's business. Orion's belt represents the Uras, the men. Pallades, this represents the women's business. Alright? The blue represents the sky, Nayidi. The brown represents the land, the Yatta. Yatta. Circle, what we're doing now. Camp, Ungle. And all the lines represent all the different tribes. Because Adnyamatna is made up of 4 main clans, and we became Adnyamatna in the 1900s when there was a missionary. So a long time ago, Flinders Ranges was divided in clans, different clans, and they brought us all together and we became Adnyamatna. Wandu, good. So I'll tell you 2, maybe 3 stories if you're lucky. Being generous. And our stories are called Muda. Muda is like Dreamtime stories, but it's more meaningful and kind of translates to things that have happened, not stories. So I'm going to tell you the story about the 7 sisters. This one's a weird star constellation. You see it around the world. All tribes have it. Indigenous tribes, ancient tribes, the Native Americans, Indians, Japanese, the Greeks, and us, plenty all over. and they all associate it with women for some reason. It's always 7 sisters, 7 wives, 7 daughters, whatever. Or in New South Wales, it's the eggs of the bush turkey. That one's a weird one, but yeah, it's always women. They associate this one. What's weird as well, if you look at it tonight, right now it's not in the right cycle. You've got to wait till later on the year, summertime. But you only see 6 stars with the human eye today. But if you get a telescope, you'll see 7. Because 2 stars look like the one. A long time ago, all the ancient tribes saw 7. So it's old stories, this one. So we call it Otani, which translates to beautiful wives. And they were all the wives to a serpent, an okra. And he was an old, jealous serpent, okra, very protective of his wives. And one day they were all swimming at the Awiata waterhole. And along came some Yuras, some blokes, and they saw the women and thought they were very beautiful and wanted them for themselves. So the okra, he saw what was going on and he got really jealous. So he swam underneath them and swallowed up all the Otani, all his wives. And then later on he spat them to the Nayati, the sky, to trap them there so that the Yuras couldn't touch them. One do? Good? So the ancient Greeks, their story is quite similar to this one. They say the 7 daughters of Atlas, the god that holds the sky forever. And along came Orion. What Orion tried to do, we've got Yakuti's children here, so I'm going to say it in PG terms, but he tried to pursue them as well. So what Zeus did, or some bloke, turned them all into stars in the sky to trap them so that Orion couldn't touch them. You see?
Does that top star belong to the
saucepan?
Yes.
Orion's belt, yeah.
Because otherwise there's 8.
Otherwise there's 8, no. Like that. One do, good?
Yeah.
So, another story. Everyone know it'd be good timing if there was a magpie nearby.
There was one on our deck earlier. Yes.
Magpies and ravens, we all know magpies and ravens, yeah. So this story is a bit different. Long time ago, the magpie and the raven, Wakalia, magpie, Urukali, raven. Long time ago, they were all white birds. And all the birds around here were all the nephews to the wildew, wedge-tailed eagle. So he was Namana, uncle to all the birds. And what wildew used to do is for the little nephews, he used to do a lot of songs and dances to teach them. So all the songs and dances had stories and lessons on how to be a good person, live with the land, a part of it. And one day the Wakalia and the Urukali, they heard these stories 1,000 times. They were getting a bit sick of hearing the same thing over and over. And they started, playing with him, being a bit cheeky, not listening to him and, kind of teasing him a bit. And after a while, the Namana, uncle, Wildu, he got fed up. So what he did was, he invited all the birds to his cave for a party. And before they all came, he put some sticks and some dry leaves in there. And then, when all the birds came over for the party, Wildu, the wedge-tailed eagle, he left. And he grabbed his utter, fire stick, and he lit the fire of the cave. And it trapped all the birds in there, and the fire spread. A lot of birds escaped, but the magpie, he got half burnt. You see? Wakalia, he got half burnt, and he left. Then Urukali, the raven, he got fully burnt.
There's one behind you.
No,
Up in the tree.
No,
There he goes.
He's on the ride.
So he got fully burnt. And the lesson of that story not only explains how they got their colours, but the lesson of the story is to be respectful and always listen to the old people because they got things to tell you. On do?
Yeah.
Good? Any questions about anything?
No.
Why is the flag half-mast?
The Queen died.
I know, but
Not because of the Queen.
No.
Not our Queen. That's because some admin might know people, I don't know, who passed away a few weeks ago. They'll probably stay up there for a while until all the families have healed more. Another story. Let's think. This is a fun one. So, everyone know the red robin? Mistletoe bird? You would have heard this story today.
Yeah, we did.
The mistletoe bird. So it's a black little bird with a red chest. There's two though. The red-capped robin has the red head and the chest, but the red robin has just the red breast. And that's the male though. The female, she's a bit, I'll be careful, there's a lot of she's a bit bland. Grey and brown. Be careful. Because in the bird world, all the boys got to look really pretty for the girls.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah, but us blokes, we don't do anything, eh? Have a shower and that's it. So, there's a berry called mistletoe. The mistletoe berry. It's a little parasite. You'll see it around everywhere. And it has a little orange berry. So one day, long time ago, the mistletoe bird, he was just black, completely black. Him and his wife had a camp in Ungle nearby, and they were setting it up. So the man, he went off on an adventure. He had enough of setting it up, and he just couldn't handle it. He needed some bloke time, so he stormed off, and he stumbled across some vertepi, mistletoe, the little berry. And he started eating it, and he was loving it, shoving his face. His wife was getting a bit fed up with him though, because she had to do the camp by herself. So she was screaming out to him, Volka Volka Yanaka. Come here, old man. There's awi forming. Rain's forming. There's big storms coming. And he wasn't listening and was, telling her, just shut up, woman, leave me alone. I'm eating my berries here. After a while, she got really fed up and ran up to him, and she grabbed her little club and donged him on the head. And he bled from the top of his head onto his chest. And that's how the red robin got his chest. One do? Yeah. So the moral of that story is, what did we say today?
Buy your missus.
Yeah. That's a good one. There's young fellas around.
Happy work, happy life.
And also there's another level to that. There's a few teachings. Also, everyone around the camp's got to help set up. Because if you go, slacking off, doing your own thing, it puts more work on everyone else that is trying to work. One do, good. Well, it's good to have you here. Any questions?
No.
Questions? Good girl. You see? No questions. That's it. That's how you do it. All right. Well, it's good to have you out here. Enjoy your time. And all that we ask, I always tell people, because it's not that well signed, but St. Mary's Peak, we'd prefer you not to go up there. And the reason why that is to us it's like a dangerous place. So in our language it's called Nadi Mudlana, which means like losing your way, going disorientated. So we feel like if we go up there it's a bit dangerous. Mainly the blokes though, the women are fine, it's mainly the blokes, because there's big stories about that. Yeah, that's just all that we ask. Go to the saddle, you can go next to it, have a look, but it's more of a warning. It's not like we're banning you from going up there. It's just like we wouldn't. So we're telling, for use, not for us. All right? All right then, well, class dismissed. Thank
Isn't it? Yeah.
God.
So down to earth. Yeah, he's
Getting there? Yeah.
I thought you were going to